The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances.
Are we live? What's good, great people? I am Ezel Moon, and I have a special guest in the building today. Tonight's conversation is about something we all experience but rarely stop to think about, and that's how a child learns and a child learns to see themselves. My guest is the founder of the Thomas Learning Center, an educational support program dedicated to helping students strengthen literacy, math foundations, and so much more. Importantly, especially their confidence. With years of experience as a teacher and intervention specialist, she has worked closely with students who were labeled behind, only to discover they weren't incapable. They simply hadn't been supported in the way they needed. Her work focuses on closing learning gaps, partnering with families, and helping students rediscover their ability to learn and believe in themselves again. Tonight, we're not just talking about tutoring or school systems. We're talking about identity, confidence, and how one adult can change the direction of a child's life. Please help me welcome to a frank conversation my good sister, my friend, my partner in crime, Alexius Thomas.
Oh, that was so good. Hey, y'all.
I told you I spent time on this one. I was like, let me make sure.
Clock it.
Oh man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Today was a little bit wonky, but I'm happy to be here.
Okay. What happened today?
I had a doctor's appointment, then a kiddo canceled, and then just life news.
Life.
Yeah.
How's your back?
It is doing better. Physical therapy has been helping me a lot. So I'm just like learning to get through with it.
Okay. I have a bunch of questions for you, but I did want to really just get into. I want to jump right into it, but I did kind of want to start off just with a little bit of a softball question for you.
Okay.
What made you care about struggling students? Like specifically, you know what I'm saying? Not just education in general, but like specifically struggling kids.
I feel like I can't see them as separate, honestly, because I view education as like the vehicle to live a choice-filled life. Just basically because how I grew up, I wasn't born into wealth or access, but I always believed that through education, you could become whatever you want to be. And so that understanding is like what propelled me to be successful in school and led me to education. But I don't know if it was like, obviously I care because I'm an educator, but I think I understood that it was like a natural born gift or talent that I have that I didn't fully discover until I started teaching full time.
In teaching full time, like, do you remember the first child that made you like realize, man, the system isn't really just systeming for our kids?
Yeah, I would say it took me quite a few years before I picked up on the systemic barriers of things. But as a teacher, I started teaching 7th grade social studies. Shout out to the social studies teachers. And through that, like I just realized oftentimes people see social studies as like an afterthought because it's not reading or it's not math, but there's a lot of primary sources and a lot of writing. And I was just like, wait a minute, like we talking about the Declaration of Independence and you're not understanding this primary source. Like, let's break it down. And I think because I'm so intentional and I don't really glaze over everything, it was just kind of eye opening being in the classroom, really seeing all of the gaps that exist. And I don't believe in just doing stuff just to do it. Like, I'm not going to keep teaching if I could tell you're not retaining. And so
Mhm.
just being responsive to like what I see students struggling and even in the data is what led me to just, I guess, be good at it because I cared, but I noticed it. So
There's a word in there that I want to highlight and actually kind of talk to you about, being intentional, right? Where does that character trait come from when it comes to you? Like what is there a memory that you can pinpoint to, or is it, how did you get that trait?
being intentional, you know what I'm gonna say. My daddy never played about me.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I think I get like my level of intention from my father. He went to the army. He wasn't college educated. I didn't grow up rich, and he had his own history of his life. Like, he had an era of time where he struggled with addiction, like just typical man in the 70s, 80s, black man at that time. But what thing that he taught me is like, it's not about what you have, is all about like how you show up. And like, my dad has always showed up, even when he had money, when he didn't have money. Like, I always felt seen. I always could tell that he cared. He listened to me. And he did everything that was in his wheelhouse to um, give me what I need. Dang, I never made this connection. Maybe that's where I get it from. And yeah, I think like just make it like, I always know like my dad listens to me, he cares for me. If he got it, I got it. And I kind of see the same thing with my students. Like, I see them, I listen to them, I play with them, I'm goofy with them. But at the end of the day, I have been fortunate to be educated. I went to UT Austin. I studied child development and Black studies. And so I think that really helped me because I like literally study child development. So I understand what they're going through when they have their temper tantrums, when they're shy. It's like I get them from a philosophical and like biological way. And so there are certain like behaviors and misbehaviors that could ruffle the feathers of someone else that really doesn't bother me because it's expected, because I just know what they're going through at that time.
I want to jump back and, by the way, shout out to your dad.
Shout out to Daddy. Listen to
I want to
this.
jump back to your childhood for a little bit. Let's talk about you as a learner. Were you confident, or were you a confident learner, or did you like have to become one?
No, honestly, it's interesting because I feel like as a kid, I disassociated a lot because like childhood was chaotic and I was just kind of in my own bubble. And actually, when I was in like second grade, my teacher told my parents that they thought I should be tested for special education services just because I didn't engage, I was quiet, I just kind of like sat there and was just kind of aloof. And when they tested me, the results came out that I was actually gifted. And so what came to find out is that I was just bored in class and I wasn't like being pushed or stimulated enough. And so because I found class to be boring, like I would just draw or be mute or whatever. And so school was always something that I liked. Like, I remember as a kid, I would be like, let's play school. I'm the teacher. And like, that was fun to me. But at the time, I can't say that I had like one teacher that made me fall in love with reading or made me fall in love with math. But I was always very involved in band. And I think like band taught me, practice makes perfect. You got to put in the time. Like, you got to have your own sauce, your individuality to it. And so, yeah, I think the story of my life is I learned from a lot of non-examples and unideal situations because I believe you can learn from a non-example just as much as you can from an example.
Mm. I want to get into your impact on children and learning gaps. When a child says, "I'm done," right? Where does that belief actually come from?
Mm, I would say like a lack of feeling success
Mm,
or like because nobody took the time or maybe they think that's somebody's gonna let them opt out. Like I'm done. Okay. But
mm,
I'm
that's
still
a good
okay.
one.
You told me that somebody like first of all, you're not dumb. That's why I tell them like, and
Fact.
second of all, like, why do you think I'm here? Like, you're
Mm,
not dumb. It's just either there's like steps that are missing, or maybe you're scared to like be vulnerable and try. But something that I notice a lot of kids say, like, I don't know, I don't know. And I'm like, okay,
mhm.
well, what do you know? Like, what's in the like what is it asking you? What number? Like, because I feel like kids, I think because there's so many kids in the classroom, it's very easy to opt out if you just shut down or say I don't know or I don't care or I'm dumb. But it's just kind of letting them know that you're not going to give up on them. Like, we could do this the easy way, we could do it the hard way, we could do it the long way, we could do it the short way. But whichever way you need me to do it, I'm here.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Man, I'll never forget you because you remind me about like 10 different kids, like the ones that I have to like ask guiding questions because I taught math. So it was
Mhm.
like, oh, shout out to the math teachers. I was like, oh, hey, they'll come to me, just I don't know. I'm like, no, you know something. What does the question say? Okay. What part of the question should you have underlined? Okay, what does I would literally ask guiding questions to try to get them to connect, to make some type of connection. And it's
Mhm.
only when they can't make like that bridge happen is when I provide an example. And then it's like, okay, well, what about this example mimics what you see inside the problem? And then it's like, okay, well, now you can make that correlation. I've always felt like if you just give the kids the answer, like, then guess what? They're going to stay in the place of, oh, I'm just parroting back to you what exactly you need to hear for me to move on past the situation. And that, to me, that's a form of opting out because they're not going to use any more brain cells to do this.
Yeah. And I also think another thing is like we live in a very microwavable AI society. We want the
Facts.
answers to come like quick, and anything that requires you to like reread, highlight, annotate,
Mhm.
synthesize, like you want to rush it. And then if you rush and get the answer wrong, now you mad. But it's like slow it down. Like let
Mhm.
the heat build. That's another thing that I try to work with students to see. And honestly, recently with the student I was working with in growth mindset. So for tutoring, I do a lot of tutoring in math just because people don't really book for social studies. So I just have to learn how to teach math. And I'm not sure if you saw the Beyonce Renaissance visual, but there was like a part where Beyonce was talking about Blue Ivy and how her first performance, people was like, oh, she's not doing it good enough. She's not dancing hard enough. But then there was a point where Blue Ivy was like, I wanted to practice. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to get better with time and da 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 da. And so I try to help them understand like your homework, your class notes, that's practice. Like, what makes you think you're going to get to the test and the performance and knock it out the park if you're not putting in practice? And
Mhm.
so, yeah, there's just like a lot of habits of a scholar,
Mhm.
behaviors that students should have. And it's like this false notion that students think that like being an A or an honor roll should come naturally. And it's like, no, you have to put in the work.
What are your thoughts on standardized testing in 2026?
I feel like they serve a purpose, but they shouldn't be the end all be all.
Mhm.
Um, I think like So my favorite STEM, like STAR, I'm not a big fan of. That's the state assessment in Texas. Mainly because they take it at the end of the year, they get their results in the summer. Like there's nothing teachers or parents can do with the data. It's like, congrats, you met your goal, or oop,
Or dang, you didn't.
you know. But a data standardized test that I like is the MAP test, NWEA, because
Yeah.
students take it 3 times a year, beginning, middle, end, and it like compares how students perform against peers across the nation in similar age. It tells you the rate of which, like how fast they're growing, how rigorous it is. So I definitely think standardized tests have a purpose, but I don't think we should entirely see who a child is academically based off of a standardized test. I think like class notes work. Look through their binder. Look through do they notes. Do they have they
Right.
written stuff down? Like that's a data point too.
Right.
Is their backpack organized? That's a data point too. I feel like data is data. You have to like notice all the things.
I want to. So I had a question for you, right? That I've been workshopping over and over and over again, and it's literally about learning gaps. But there's a better way for me to phrase it. But I was going to literally call you and ask you, hey man, how do you think I should phrase this question to you? It's so what I have is a learning gap really academic or is it emotional, right? But I know for a fact that there's so many different things that could take place to where that gap, is what it is, and then it widens over time. So I'm trying to think of what's the best way to ask you this question, right?
So is a learning gap.
Really academic or emotional? And to me, I'm literally thinking that it's both,
Mhm.
right? Because if you're a student, right, you're in first grade, and let's take our pandemic babies as an example, right? The ones who experienced virtual learning from first grade to second grade and third grade, right? And then where they are now, and how, like, okay, you had to deal with kids who didn't have access to internet, didn't have resources at home to help, foster a real learning environment, right?
Mhm.
To me, I don't think that it's an academic or emotional thing. I think it's a lack of resources thing, right? But I want to know from your perspective, where, like, our learning gaps, do you feel like they're more so on the academia side or the emotion side?
So I wouldn't necessarily say emotional. I think I get what you're trying to talk about, like executive functioning, whether it's like
Hmm.
time management, organization, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's you got to take it a case by case depending on the student. But
Right.
the vast majority of the time, I would say it's a little bit of both. And like the percentages, it just depends. So this makes me think of my little brother Scoot, who's in 8th grade, and he's like a computer scientist, math expert, et cetera, et cetera. But he sucks at executive functioning. So it's like on a test, he'll make an A, but have a B in the class because he's missing deadlines. He's not turning things in just because he has like that complete like lack of awareness. And it's
Right.
like, does he have learning gaps? No, he just doesn't have strong scholarly habits. And so when I talk to him, I'm like, you can be smart all day, but when you like at some point, you're going to have to learn these skills. If you get a job and you're not showing up and you're not where you need to be, like you're still not going to be successful. Do I need to put you in hours of math tutoring? Like, no, but you still need tutoring to build routines and habits. Let me pull up my Schoology. Let me see what deadlines are due. Let me see what forms I need to submit. So I think like everybody needs support in a different way. But unfortunately, schools tend to focus on the like academic side and they don't really give much support on the executive functioning things.
Absolutely. I think that there's quite a bit of uh mistakes being made as far as interpreting like certain behaviors, right? Like I feel like there, especially nowadays, compliance and learning. You know, I feel like a lot of schools mistake that one for the other, right? You know, they'll, especially for in an era where technology, like you said earlier, AI and everything, that you can literally just take a photo of a piece of homework and just, hey, have something generate all the answers for it, turn it in. You know, yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. You complied with, okay, I turned in the homework, but did you learn anything? Like, did you actually practice any skills?
Mhm. I am
Uh,
thinking about something you said though, the emotional thing. And
mhm.
since I've been out of the classroom as a full-time teacher, it wasn't on my radar. But something emotional that does come up is like fear or embarrassment that like if I raise my hand and I'm wrong, what does that look like? Or if I'm like answering too many questions, like do people think I'm a teacher's pet? Do they think I'm not lame, a nerd? I want to impress my friends. So I definitely think there is an emotional component to how like the culture of a classroom and how that's going. But at the same time, I wish in an ideal world everyone had access to a personal tutor. Like if
Mm,
I hit the lottery and I just had a whole bunch of money, like that's one thing that I would advocate for. Because even if you take the best teacher and you put them in the classroom and they are giving a Grammy Oscar performance classroom,
mm,
no child in there is getting all of the support that they need. And that's in an ideal classroom because people have questions at different times. I'm in this part of, and it's like, it's hard to like manage all these little brains and all these little energies. But when
right.
you have one-on-one tutoring,
Yeah.
like you're just pouring into me that entire time, like literally every question, every thought, and I just feel like, well, not I feel like I know that that personalized learning goes a long way because we have, obviously I have a lot of kids in the tutoring program and I talk to the parents about like what they notice. And it gets to the point where in the tutoring sessions, we're able to like move faster than they are in the classroom just because, like all the gaps
Yeah.
are remedied. And I feel like one tutoring session is like the equivalent of a week's worth of school, which is
Mm,
crazy.
that is wild. Y'all, if every tutor is really, you know, on point like that, that is amazing. I wonder, how the I wonder how your tutors are, you know, teaching the students confidence, through their interactions.
So I think confidence is something that comes with time, and
Mhm,
confidence is built with accuracy, honestly. Because I
mhm.
know, like, sometimes people think saying, I am smart, I am smart, like, affirmations will only take you so far. Like, that's. Everybody think an affirmation gonna get you there, and you say I'm smart 10 times, and then I give you a question, and and now you mad again. But but I really think confidence is built by like because I hire tutors that have extensive education experience, we know how to find the exact level that a student is performing at and like giving them things like, okay, yeah, this is your on your level, you're doing it, you're doing it, you're doing it, and like intentionally scaffold and taking it like one step and
Mhm.
another step and another step. And like every time that the student is successful and they seeing themselves grow with time, then that leads to success. I also think about like with multiplication, some kids really got that, some don't.
Right.
And just like supporting them, understanding like there's multiple ways to solve a problem. Like in an ideal world, if I ask you what's 8 times 7, like you will want that to be an automatic response. But if you're not there yet, here's a number, like here's a little number chart. This is how you use it. This is how you get there. If you need to like helping them use what they got or what they have to get where they're trying to go, and like normalizing, like you don't need to rush. Like
Mhm.
ain't nobody here but me and you. But to synthesize, like giving them opportunities to be successful with work on their level, equipping them with like supplemental tools that they can use to do whatever the task is, and it was something else, but I forgot.
Oh, good. I was gonna tell you, immediately when you said that, I was about to start drawing on this whiteboard real fast. Like, hey, you know what? I got a great trick for multiplication because the math teacher in me just jumped out. Like, hey, yo, wait, multiplication facts. Oh, I got that.
And another thing is like, because the way math is done is how it's changing all the time.
Absolutely.
And this is what I say, and it's my business, so who go check me? But I'm like, there's multiple ways to do any problem. Like, okay, if the way your teacher, like, I'll teach you how your teacher does it, because there are some quizzes where it's like, I want to see that you have the tens value, like,
Right.
Like,
Yes.
like if this is just stumping you, like, I'm going to show you another way that you can approach it, and like, let's learn how you learn. Like, how does your brain work? Like, this is option A, this is option B, this is option C. Which one works with you? Oh, you like it that way? Okay, so then we just go this way, and understand, in class it may look a little bit different, but like, you don't have to do math the way everybody want to do math, because the reason they keep remixing math is because people are struggling and they think it's going to work. But if the math, let it math. Like, why are you trying to tell me how to group and multiply? Like, the math is the math. If it math, it's math.
Legitimately speaking, man, the way in which because I learned the box method and all the lines and dots method for multiplying. If I ever go back in the classroom again, I will teach it as such. But I will also take 147 and times 23, draw a line, and then just multiply this thing.
On the second row, add that 0, and
I'm telling you, like, it's
and it's like, I get why they change it, and like, I get the gist behind it, and like, sometimes that works, but that doesn't mean that like, now this is the only way to teach math. You're false.
Exactly. Especially mathematics, man. Especially mathematics. There's so many different ways.
And especially when you get an upper math, they're just gonna use that Desmos calendar for graphing anyway.
And then I was about to say, the further along you get, the higher up you get. They literally tell you to use this calculator because of they know that there's going to be a bunch of small steps in between. So you might as well fly through the small steps and just do the big stuff. It's
yeah. I think that's like the most controversial thing about the business. But I tell parents too, like, yeah, I know how they teach it in school, and like, I'm not saying I wouldn't tell them, but I believe in different routes to the same thing. I don't believe there's one way that someone should annotate reading, or one way to structure a paragraph, or one way to break down a problem.
But that shouldn't be controversial. You know what I mean? Like, that should be something that we all know. Like, as far as like, even in just the earlier example that we just talked about, like, hey, look, yes, there's a box method. Yes, there's a line and dot method, but there's also the way in which we learned when we were growing up that, hey, this is how you multiply these numbers. And guess what? All of them will still give you the exact same answer. It's just based upon whichever child. I don't think that should be a controversial topic, but I'm learning as time goes by that clearly it is for some people. But I think it's because people are just locked into a mindset of like, hey, I just want to, this one way is the way. No, it's not, man. Like, it's more than.
Yeah. And I think that's like part of my educator philosophy. I feel like, let's try all the ways to see what sticks. And I don't believe one way is better than another way. It's just, what is your way? And that's my goal, to help people figure out, like, how do you learn? What do you need?
We are going to take a quick commercial break, you guys, and we will be returning back with the Alexius Thomas. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Commercial.
WSAN Radio, the soul of America and beyond. Join DJ Ron G and the WSAN crew every day for the Ron G Morning Show, Funk Friday, and Gospel Brunch Sunday. From local heroes to national guests, WSAN Radio connects you to the pulse of our community. One song, one story, one soul at a time. WSAN Radio, where music, motivation, and movement come together. Streaming live, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and WSANradio.com.
Got me together with this two-piece. It's the good leggings, no see-through business.
And we are back. Um, Thank you so much to all of our sponsors, and we hope to see your commercial on the show in the future. You know, whenever you get a chance. Um, Lex, I wanna transition a little bit, still staying on the topic, but just transition a little bit because this is actually something that came up recently for me. Where should education actually start? Everybody says it starts at the home, right? But not everybody is educated in the home, if you know what I'm if you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
So are we still, not at this point, at this juncture saying, hey, education should still start at the home, or should the onus be on the educators in the school?
I think education starts in the heart. And everyone who has kids in their life, like, if you don't give a damn, then nobody go give a fuck. like you have to give a damn. You have to give a damn. And like growing up, I don't come from an educated family,
Mhm.
but like how educated do you have to be to teach letters and sounds? Like I think teaching it's a partnership between both family and schools. I feel like it's not 100% on the family, it's not 100% on the school, but everybody needs to care and do their part. I think if everybody is like hands up, then the literacy rates and the math rates is going to be what it is. But you have to care. If you don't have it in your heart, then you just gonna be playing a game of hot potato. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it. No, like everybody has to do their part.
So every stakeholder should be involved.
Literally.
What do you feel like parents misunderstand the most about how children learn?
Let me think. What are some common parents misunderstandings?
I'll give you one right now. I did this recently with Mike. I'm sorry, son. I'm publicly apologizing. What is 20 plus 28? Not
Mhm.
that. I feel like it's not a volume thing. Volume isn't going to help get it across. I don't think fear. I
I really think, okay,
fear
that's
isn't.
a great example. I think it's because usually when you have these loud outbursts, it's like
Mhm.
you're mad at the kid, but you're really projecting that you didn't understand your child was where they are. And you thought your child was
It's
performing
further
at
along.
a higher level, and that's why you mad. You're not mad at he really don't understand how to subtract these apples. And I think that brings it back to the heart situation, because had you been having dice and marbles and stuff
Mhm.
from a you would know what your kid understands. And you wouldn't be flabbergasted at the fact that they can't do it to the point of now you're yelling. So all that to say, I feel like people got to take their ego out of it and just like deal with the kid where they are, because now you're yelling and the kid is mad and scared and don't want to afraid, and now they can't focus. And
Mm.
so I feel like we shouldn't judge kids or anyone where they are currently. It's all about like, can you master this one objective, and can we get to a better place tomorrow? It's not about you're this age and you should know. Okay, you don't know. All right, let's take it a step back. Let me give a single digit number. Like, okay, and then we'll build up that tomorrow. But to your answer, to the original point, I think from my experience too, there's often a lack of awareness of what's really happening with their child. Most parents don't really understand where their kid reading level is, where their math level is. And it's like when it gets to the point of parental involvement, either they're failing or it's like an extreme blowout and like, now we're mad. And so I feel like if people were just in touch with where their kids are and understand what that looks like, what it feels like, that's how they can help their kiddo grow.
That makes sense. What's a sign that that a child needs help that most families miss?
How they show up for school, their backpack, their notes.
You did say that earlier.
I think people often, or it's like performative accountability. How was school? Good. You got homework? No. Why not open up your agenda? Tell you, I expect, forget what the school said. This is your agenda. I expect, oh, you don't have homework? Okay, show me your class notes. Show me. And it's like, I feel like parents tend to like ask performative questions, but in real life, you don't know and you don't care for real. Because if you did, it would be more than oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Then you said homework. Should homework exist right now?
I think so. I don't think it should be like a worksheet or anything, but for a baseline, I feel like kids should be reading. Elementary school, at least 10, 15 minutes a day. Middle and high school, 20, 30 minutes. Because if you could be on the phones all day, you could be on a book. And there's nothing that builds up a kid's vocabulary and just like brain neuroplasticity like reading. And the same with math. I feel like kids should just be doing something to challenge their mind every day. Should it be a worksheet? No. But should they be doing something academic in the house? Definitely.
Give me your thoughts on this. Recently, a discussion was had in regards to the school system being designed for management. Do you feel like the school system is designed for learning or for management?
Performative learning, but really management. That's why I'm not in the school system no more. Had to get out. But yeah, so let me tell you about that story. So as I advanced in my like education admin career, this is when I was living in Dallas, and I was assistant principal of special populations. So that's SPED, that's English learners, that's math intervention, that's reading intervention, all the things. And so I was like in charge of showing that like growth goals, kids, meeting goals, et cetera, et cetera. And when it came down to hiring staff, they were trying to like give me paraprofessionals. And I said, what makes you think the paraprofessional that's like no teaching experience, no degree, not certified? I was like, if a child is SPED, they should have the most experienced teacher in the building.
Absolutely.
Period. Right? Because they have learning deficits.
Exactly.
Why would you bring like an equivalent of a substitute teacher to give them to the SPED kids just to say we pull a small group, just to check off a form? But the reason they like to put the most experienced teachers in reading and math because it ties to STAR data and that ties to like funding and all of that. And so I was like, oh, y'all like to play games. Like, and I was like, I'm not here just to be your face of performative intervention. And like, you're not giving me what I need. And no. And so that's really when I started taking Thomas Learning Center seriously, because I was like, this isn't a game to me. I feel like every kid should really have access to quality intervention, and like I'm not able to do this here, and like I'm fighting with admin for increased budgets to hire quality professionals. And I was like, let me just do it on my own terms. And That's why I left the school system and I've been building Thomas Learning Center. And even with my credentials, like not my credentials, my expectations for hiring, I say 5 years, but it's really 10 years if I'm keeping it a book. And a master's in education. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, like that's too high. Nobody's gonna. I never had a shortage of applicants. People meet the bar. We have a team of 15 tutors now. And the reason I do that is to your previous question when you asked, like, how do tutors meet the needs of kids? Like, that takes time and experience. I don't even care if you have a master's in education. If you have 1 year of teaching experience, it's a no for me. Like, like this is an art that you have to study and you got to be in the field and you got to do. And what I've learned is, Thomas Learning Center attracts like assistant principals and principals, like educators who do have a heart to work with kids, but they want that coin. So, like they've advanced in their career and they don't have kids to work with anymore, but they still want to. And so that's a way that they're able to like do their admin role, but still feel like they're connected and making a direct impact with kids. So in short, yes, they are performative and they're all managerial or whatever you said.
Come on, founder.
I can't stand the schools if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I feel you. It's and honestly speaking, if I could just go a little bit further, but in another direction, I always felt that the school system has preyed upon the the actual the care. Like how educate like you said, education starts in the heart. If you have a heart for education, a heart for these kids, and actually making sure that these kids actually understand something, I feel like the worst place to take it is the school system, because no matter where you go, like they're it's only about the numbers, and and when it comes to that, you're going to be a cog in the machine, right? You're going to be a replaceable piece of a machine. And as much love as you have for the kids, as much, as many good memories that you could foster for the children, it just always feels as if like, okay, we're just trying to be a good check in a box for someone somewhere that has no idea about these people these children, these minds that are sitting in front of me right now, you know.
Yeah, I think initially educators mean well, like at the beginning, but then when you think like, oh, it's a job is one thing, work-life balance is a thing, but as you move up, the education system can become very political, especially in this current climate. And it's like you start by having the right heart, but eventually you'll look up and just be like, what am I doing? What's going wrong? But one thing I can say, kids are not prioritized in how decisions are. It is more of funding, where's the money coming from, or like who's in power and like how do I keep my job?
Yeah. Give me something about the Thomas Learning Center that the world needs to know.
TLC, that's my baby. Something that the world needs to know. Really just the impact of customized one-on-one instruction, in that there isn't a cookie cutter formula to meet the needs of kids. I think the biggest thing that I learned is two things. So one, I used to feel a little insecure about having a virtual tutoring company, because I don't know why people think like having a brick and mortar is like the standard. And initially that took a lot of, I guess, convincing of parents to like give it a try. But I think something about Thomas Learning Center is aligned to kids today. They on the phone all the time. And just because our 35, 40, 50-year-old self can't fathom a world in which someone can learn online, like these kids can definitely learn and form relationships with their tutors online and like look forward to seeing them. And the other thing I would say is just how like the way that we blend academics plus executive functioning in a personalized way if you go to other tutoring companies, Mathnasium, Kumon, Sylvan, it is a textbook. And it's still group. And like, they're like, okay, today we're doing pages 5 and 6. Forget what you had at school. Forget your test coming up tomorrow. We're doing pages 5 and 6. Tomorrow we're doing pages 10. You know, like it's not, it's skill, but it's not like really related to what your child needs. And so at Thomas Learning Center, like everything is curated to what your child needs. Like, of course, we come with materials ready to go, but if your kid's like, actually, I have this assignment due tomorrow and I'm not done, can you help me with it? Yes, actually, I know we meet on Thursday, but I have a test on Tuesday. Can we switch it to Monday? Of course we can. You know, like it really is curated to ensure students are set up for success. And it's like a community. Like if I see a grant for free tutoring or something, you know, like I'm going to share that with the families. It's not really transactional. It's like intentional investments of I'll say instructional goodness to make sure they become who they need to be.
Listen, don't worry. You're gonna see Mike. Don't worry about it. Send him on right on your way. All right, lightning round. You ready for this?
Okay.
Book smarts and street smarts.
Street smarts.
Yeah. Grades or growth?
Growth.
Homework or reading?
Reading.
Math or reading?
Reading.
Okay. Early intervention or later support?
Early intervention. Well, both, but early is better.
But cause even for me, I struggled with that one. Cause like I was like, well, I mean, cause yeah, it's better to be proactive than reactive. But how proactive can you be if you don't know what they don't know? You know what I mean? Like,
think about, so when I was a literacy specialist, I managed reading intervention programs at a middle school, and I would have kids in the eighth grade reading on the third grade reading level, and in a year, like I could see kids grow from a third grade reading level to like a fifth grade reading level, but you're still in the eighth grade and you're about to go to ninth grade. And it just makes me wonder, like, damn, if somebody could have caught this in fourth grade, you know, and like got them back together before middle school. I just feel like it's good when the intervention, like whenever intervention happens, it's fine, but it's just like when it's delayed, it just makes the mountain higher to climb.
I feel that. I feel that. Greatest fraternity known to man.
I'm not in a fraternity.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Good one.
Because y'all not loyal, and what makes you think?
Stop playing. Yes, we are.
Like a bird. Y'all are not loyal. You know.
Yes,
it.
Oh my God. Yes, we are. Listen, y'all.
Screenshots?
Listen, please don't. Hey guys. The greatest fraternity known to man is the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm throwing that out there. And I'm writing it down. So,
I like the crimson and cream. Looks good.
I should have changed the shirt. I knew I should have just wore. I was like, man, I should wear my sweater. I'm gonna wear my bruh sweater, and I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna just throw this on real fast. I gotta get started.
Great.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. So great, so great.
It's so great.
So great. All right. Shout out to the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, in which she is an amazing member of that sorority. Really quickly, how has being a Sarah affected the trajectory of your life?
Oh, significantly. Yeah, so I actually answered this question on a random threads the other day, but the reason why I decided to become a Delta is just like deep admiration of the impact Delta women, have made on society, especially in the civil rights era, politics, education. And I feel like we all have our own different callings, and education is mine. And so I hope that, when it's all said and done and then my time on this earth wraps up, like people will be able to have an extensive legacy to just say like, man, like she kind of took life on her own terms and went an untraditional route to like have the impact on students that she wanted. And even in terms of the sisterhood, I feel like with growing and scaling Thomas Learning Center, I have so many sorority sisters and the alumni chapters that share my flyer group chats, that book services, that refer us. And I know if I wasn't a Delta, like my growth and clientele wouldn't be what it is. So I'm just super thankful to the legacy of Deltas that inspired me and the current chapter of Deltas that support me on the day to day.
That's a rule. I wholeheartedly respect that, and I respect all the Sarons. Like I said, I told you all the time, hey man, when a great change was being made in my life, at any turn, it was a Delta right there that was like, oh yeah, go ahead. I did want to go into the goal of the show, the reason why I do this, which is philanthropy, garnering support from the audience and putting it towards a charity or nonprofit that you care about. What charity or nonprofit would you like to spotlight today, and why is the cause that it faces so important to you?
A charity that I would like to shout out is Trap Social HTX. It was founded by two good friends of mine, Courtney Boozer and Ebony, and they created a space to highlight Black businesses, small businesses in the community. And I went to one of their events called, Trap Social, where they have a lot of vendors come together, and it's a market where we can support each other, businesses. We can share resources about different things that we're going through as up and coming entrepreneurs. And I think networking is really huge. And I just appreciate the space that they have curated to support Black owned business leaders and creating opportunities for us to grow our business and just market our services.
Awesome. So hopefully those who are under the sound of our voices, whether it be now or in the future, when they're running this one back, they will in fact support Trap Social HTX. Not just with their funds, but with their time, their energy, their efforts, or just come out there and sign up to be a vendor at any of their gatherings. And a big shout out to Boozer, man. Hey, I don't think we see you. J. Cole pulled up.
Yes.
Hey, listen, and the funny thing is, right, dog, the world is so small. A-Hall, who I went to undergrad with at UTA, right? He's the one that's with the bike group. Yeah.
Okay.
I was so happy to see like people in our world to be like, yo, we're doing this thing.
Yeah, I was so happy when I saw he was there because I was just at Boozer's like the day before, and I'm like, yes, like she needed a win, having a business, trying to build your clientele up, trying to get that recognition, and she's been putting in the work. Having like themes of each day, and it's sad that a lot of people don't want to support you until J. Cole pop up. But
I'm trying to tell you,
you never know when J. Cole go pop up, so don't wait for J. Cole.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Hey, listen, support your friends before they pop, y'all, because you never know.
I don't get it, especially if you be outside in the streets anyway. Start at your friend first, and then go to the other bars. It makes no sense to me. I can't stand cloudy friends. Support your friends.
Hey, listen, because guess what? Either way it goes, guess where I'm going when I come back into town?
What? Going to Boozer's?
Yeah, of course, man. Yes. That was gonna happen anyway.
Have you've been already though, right?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, for Greek weekend. Okay.
Hey, listen, I gotta get an Uber.
Yeah, it's not far from me, and it's like maybe like 12 minutes away from me.
For sure, for sure. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Never mind. So yeah. Anyway, before we close out, we like to leave with words of wisdom, right? And I'm usually one that starts us off with, "Hey, but what words of wisdom would you have for such and such?" But you know, being as how you are, most honorable founder, I wanted to, I wanted to make this a little bit special for you. When a child leaves your learning center, right? When they log out in Cali, New York, Bangkok, Nigeria, Canada, Ontario, Canada, Massachusetts, when they log out, when a child leaves your learning center, what do you hope they believe about themselves that they didn't believe before?
I would hope that they leave feeling empowered, knowing that there's nothing that they can't do. And I hope that they leave understanding that curiosity and asking questions is the vehicle to success.
Mm, mm, mm. I appreciate you taking the time to join me on a frank conversation this evening. It has been an absolute amazing, amazing time. You are more than welcome to come back. And if you know anyone that you would like to have see up here, sit down with me, based off of a strength of recommendation from you, they are welcome. They are more than welcome.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. He's gonna bring you down. I'm gonna close out the show, and I will see you once we're done.
Alrighty.
All right. Warms my heart. It warms my heart to see my friends grow and advance and progress in life. Sincerely speaking, thank y'all so much for tuning in this evening. This was so great. I hope that you guys will tune in next Wednesday. Matter of fact, I know you guys will tune in next Wednesday for another amazing conversation. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the United Front Network. And a big shout out to WSAN out in San Antonio. All those who are under the sound of our voice in San Antonio, make sure you guys check out the Thomas Learning Center. That's at thomaslearningcenter.com. And yeah, man, support, support, support. Support your friends before they blow up. Boy, education starts in the heart. That one is staying with me. Uh, I love doing this. I do. Once again, thank you guys. And I'm Ezel Moon, and I'm not doing it unless it's fun and it helps people. Peace.